Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. Merry Christmas to all you who are celebrating Christmas today. Happy holidays to everyone in general. Hope you're getting to enjoy this very strange 2020 holiday season and hopefully getting some quality time with your loved ones. As you can see, I am not home because I'm getting a little quality time with my family. But had to spend like a couple minutes talking about the wonderful Christmas holiday gift that Patty Jenkins has bestowed upon the world today. It's shocking. It's a good one. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free, into Wonder Woman 1984. And let me start by saying I was fortunate enough to safely go to a movie theater and watch the movie on an IMAX screen today. And it sucks that not everybody's going to get to see this movie on the big screen because it is made for the big screen. And, like, the big screen moments really hit, or at least for me, really hit, where I was like, damn, that's going to play really well on the TV because TVs are so big nowadays. But, man, it really hits home. And this is a movie that if you can see safely and you feel comfortable, you should see in a theater. That said, I am, though, ultimately glad that everyone is going to be able to experience and enjoy this movie, hopefully, because it was a ton of fun, man. And for me, was an upgrade from the first one. I loved the first Wonder Woman. What it did for the character, Gal becoming Wonder Woman, and how it made Wonder Woman a legitimate movie star. I love all of those elements, and I love the Diana storyline. That third act just constantly leaves me wanting a little bit more. Well, this time out the gate, Patty Jenkins gave me everything I wanted and then some. And the third act in this movie, dynamite, knocks it out of the ballpark, man. And it's because of the script, and it's because of the character development. One of the other things I think that was a struggle in the first Wonder Woman were the villains. And that's not just Wonder Woman. Let's face it. Most of the superhero movies, DC and Marvel, they've struggled with villains. It seems like Marvel is kind of turning the corner a little bit, and DC to a degree, I'm like, maybe they're turning the corner. This is like turn of corn. You get full-fledged stories and arcs for both Barbara Minerva and Max Lord, and Max Lord in particular. Max's story is almost a 50-50 split with Diana's, and you really are able to see where these characters are coming from, really understand what their motivations are. Their motivations make a ton of sense to those characters, and by the time you get to the third act of the movie, the payoffs to those storylines just hit way harder than it did with the villains in the first movie, and hit in a way that is way harder and more effective than most villains in superhero movies. I don't know if these are necessarily my favorite villains, because there are elements of the villains that I like are a little bit different than these. But as far as a character development goes and a storytelling for a villain, this is some of my absolute favorite storytelling. Jenkins really nails these characters and makes you understand them, and understand in a way where Wonder Woman understands where they're coming from and what she's trying to accomplish in combating these villains. Really works to the story, and really hits in a much nicer, cleaner way than we've seen in most superhero films. And for me, that's what elevates this one a little bit. And the third act is just marvelous, man. It gives you spectacle. Like I said, it gives you really good story. It gives you heartfelt things, and it does tie up everything that Jenkins sets up in the first two acts, I thought, perfectly. Like, you get to the end, and I was just satisfied with every payoff I got. Now, I don't think the movie is completely perfect. I can't quite pinpoint it. I gotta watch the movie a little bit more. But the second act, I feel like you just lose Diana. Or not Diana, we're with Diana, but you lose a little bit of the Wonder Woman element of the movie. And, you know, you're spending time with Barbara, and obviously a lot of time with Max, and plenty of time with Diana and Steve in the second act. But there was just something there that just, like, didn't quite gel the second act the way the first two are. But it's minor, because I enjoy everything she does in this. One, I love how she plays with the 80s thematically. The way people react to both Diana and Barbara in the movie, and how that, you know, grows or changes or just runs throughout the entire thing, mostly with Barbara because she goes through an actual change. But the way men in particular respond to these women, something that would have been very commonplace in the 80s, calling out them, hey baby, hey sexy, you know, and things now that, like, as a man, I'm like, oh, dude, like, it skeeves me out because we should be better than that, and I hope most people have come around to that. So when you watch it, you're like, ugh, and it really stands out, but it's a background thing. And it totally speaks to some of the sexism that went on in the 80s and how you can kind of play that in the background, but have it be present so that when you get to the end, there's even a payoff to that stuff. Like, I really like that Jenkins just hits everything. And like I said, the 80s stuff in general, from the attire, that little bit of a sequence we got with Steve in the trailer trying on all the different stuff. I just love seeing 80s themed stuff everywhere. I love that she gets into the weird of the 80s. Like, you get the punk rock with the crazy mohawks, and you get like the break dancers, and you get the jazzercisers and the bodybuilders, and she really like hits all the weird spots of the 80s and just puts it in the background in a way where you're like, oh, that's awesome. And I also love that she takes these background characters and makes them mean a lot to the movie, because humanity is on the line to a degree. And the way Jenkins is able to use background characters and people that we pass by and see things happen to just really adds to everything that she's building for Diana and for Max and for Barbara. And the other thing that I love that she does here that I was worried about is Steve Trevor. What he does in the first movie means so much to Diana's character in this universe. To take that away, I was nervous that you were going to rob that, and shame on me, because Jenkins doesn't do that. She finds a way to bring Steve back that makes a ton of sense and only adds to that element of the story. And at the end of the day, what she does with the writing and just the script, like, you feel the weight and the battle of like love versus evil, and more, not even evil, but like that inner selfishness, that one thing you want. What is that one thing you want? We hear Max Lord say it a bunch of times in the trailer. It's the theme. What is that one thing you want, and what is it worth to you? Like, what are you willing to give to have this? And that whole discussion through the movie, and specifically what it means to Diana and to humanity, and how you play with that, while on the other side you just have overpowering love. And it really is a story of love conquers all to a degree. And I love the way that Jenkins plays with that, because it might be cliche to say out loud, but man, does she work that into the story. And you feel the love in this movie. There is so much of it pouring in and pouring out. And emotionally, every emotional beat hit for this guy. I was crying, shocking, multiple times in the movie. And that's the other thing, is the wow factor. Jenkins still has it. On the directing side, when she shoots the action, she definitely learns some stuff from Zack Snyder, because when she hits those slow-mo moments, man, do they paint picturesque, like, images of Wonder Woman and of Diana, and just these, there are just these shots, man, and anytime that she uses the slow-mo, it elevates what's going on in the sequence, and the action is really good. It's mostly in the front and the back of the movie, but pretty much everywhere it shows up, I enjoyed a lot. The cheetah scene that we see in the trailer could have been a little bit brighter, maybe, but the sequence itself felt right. It looked great, and I loved watching it. Max is a different kind of villain, so the action around him toward the end, different approach, but I really liked it, and it really also played into the theme of the things that Jenkins builds, so those are earned really well at the end of the movie. And I love the opening, because, spoilers, we've seen it in the trailers, but we go back to Themyscira, we see little Diana, and the sequence that Jenkins decides to give us is magical. And she's got a few of these scenes, but Themyscira is one of those places, like, you saw it and I was like, I just want to go back there, man. And like, we're not gonna go back there. And to find a way to bring it back and tie it into what the story is for Diana and how much that scene means. Oh my gosh, man. I was getting teary-eyed at the beginning of the friggin' movie. Because the little girl that plays Diana, dynamite, man. She's fantastic. That whole scene, it is just magical. Like, you get to see more of Themyscira, you get to see more of the beauty, and you get to see a scene that just pulls you into this thing right out the gate where you're like, wow. And then there's, a scene that people will probably compare to the No Man's Land scene. And I like this one even more, dude. Like, what it means to Diana at that moment and what's going on and the way Jenkins shoots it, it's so beautiful. And it is so emotionally raw and captivating. And you just sit there and go, wow. And I sat there and I wept and was like, wow, because I just felt everything that it was meaning to Diana. And where you're coming at that point in the movie, you're just like, it's all right there. And I grinned ear to ear while tears streamed down my face. It was glorious to watch. And I love that Jenkins gives Wonder Woman those moments And oh my god, the Lasso of Truth? Wow. Like, you want to talk about spectacle? Holy cow, man. What Jenkins does with that lasso for Wonder Woman. Holy cow, man. Like, that. The lasso is its own character in this movie, and the way Wonder Woman uses it, it's magical. It's the only way you can say it. It's literally like magical. So much of it doesn't make any sense, but it is gorgeous to watch, and how she uses it and how she uses it to her advantage is just genius. And I also love that the outfit is dialed up, and that makes sense too. You know, when you're in World War One, a more muted version of her gear makes sense. Now you're in the 80s where everything is bright and vibrant and loud, and you get that pure red and blue, and it's wonderful, and all plays into the things that Jenkins builds. And as much as I love Patty Jenkins and think she knocks this one out of the ballpark, it's not just her. Her entire crew do a fantastic job. Like I said, the CGI, the action scenes are great. The score is fantastic. I love these Wonder Woman scores, man. They are unrelenting, and they just don't stop because she's an unrelenting force. And then the performances. I mean, what's there to say? Gal Gadot is amazing, man. Like, and she relishes in being Wonder Woman in this movie. You know, the first one, she's becoming Wonder Woman. Now she's been her. She's been her for decades. And to see how she operates, there's a great sequence at the beginning of the movie where you kind of get to see how she operates with the public. And just the way Gal plays it, man, the little look she gives people, or the wink of the eyes, or the little head nods. You can tell that she's enjoying being a superhero. And that's one of those things that I feel like a lot of these superhero movies we don't get to see. We don't get to see, especially in the DC movies, them enjoy being a hero. And you get to see Diana do that a little bit, and Gal crushes that stuff. I think she also crushes the action. It's a really good blend of her and her stunt double. It's hard to tell who's who. And it looks like Gal did a lot of stuff, and it plays really, really well. And she brings the emotion. Her emotional beats in this movie are powerful, and the performance behind them just as strong. I mean, there is a scene, you'll know it, with her and Steve, where I just sat there and I was in awe of everything Gadot was doing. Like, it was just magical. And it is always magical to watch her and Chris Pine on screen, because Chris Pine, I've said it a million times, the dude has the charm and charisma level of no other human being I know of. Like, he could literally make me believe that he was in a relationship with a rock, and that rock, an inanimate object, loved him back. Like, that's how good he is. And the chemistry he has with Gal is just so natural. And the fact that, Jenkins found a good way to bring him back in a way that means more to the story than takes away from the story. It doesn't take away from the story at all. It allowed Pine to really shine and remind us what it was like to be around Steve Trevor, and seeing him have fun with adapting to the 80s and getting to see the technology and the advancement of the technology. There's a thing that they do. Everything about that thing and that sequence is amazing. Another just really stroke of genius from Jenkins on how she applies things that we know but puts them into the universe in a way that'll make sense to this story and to this world. And I just thoroughly enjoy Chris Pine. I love when he's on screen, and like I said, I love how much his presence means to the movie. It means to everything that's at stake and at play. And then our villains are absolute knockouts. Kristen Wiig, wow. I mean, I knew Kristen Wiig was a really good actor. I did not know Kristen Wiig could ooze like sexuality and fierceness in a way where, like, you almost forget that Gal Gadot's on the screen sometimes. Like, she steals it. It was fun to watch her play that, because that's obviously not Kristen Wiig's natural mode. And when she's playing Barbara before she starts to transform, that is Kristen Wiig's mode. You get some real nice Kristen Wiig moments when she's playing Barbara, but when she does transform, wow, dude, like, she commands the screen, and you can tell she is having fun, because being sexy and being seen and being powerful means so much to Barbara. And watching Wiig just relish in getting to play that and do something that she really doesn't ever get to do, and be the knockout, the stunner in the room, she knocks it out, man. Like, and you feel for her, like, as that plays into her story and what that means to her, and as those things kind of are transpiring, like, it's one of those things that I love that Jenkins does. Like, you feel for Barbara throughout the movie, and I love how they utilize her. They utilized her in a way I wasn't necessarily expecting, and it was a way that was just really, really true to form. And then Pedro Pascal, I've been saying this for like the last 8 weeks, the man is one of the best actors in the business, and for the last 8 weeks we've seen his face very, very little. It's just been tremendous voice acting on The Mandalorian. Here we get full Pedro Pascal, man, and he lights it up. And the fact that Max Lord's story is has as much depth as it has to it, it just allows him to go so many places. And much like Barbara Minerva, we feel for Max Lord. Like, I understand where he's coming from. I understand his motivations, and I love the story arc that they give the character and where he goes and what we get in that third act. While it might be different than what you get with Cheetah in the third act, you got to approach that villain in a different way. It was really satisfying and beautiful in the way that Jenkins kind of pulls it all off, and the delivery from Pascal. Like I said, the character, just range of emotion is the entire spectrum, and you get to watch Pascal go to all these different places, and it is so much fun to watch him on screen. And these four are just powerhouse performances start to finish, like the whole time that they're on there, and they just take all the material that Jenkins has built and all the storyline threads and just the wonderful nods. They're great nods to the comics and things that obviously have come before. Jenkins really knows how to speak to her audience, and knows the things that Wonder Woman fans want to see, and delivers all those in ways that are just spellbinding at times in this movie. And it is not a perfect movie, but it is a heartfelt movie. It is an emotional movie, and it is a hero's journey. That was just a ton of fun to go on, and it was beautiful to watch. She shoots the hell out of this movie, man. Specifically those slow-mo sequences. There are just some captivating shots, and when the slow-mo is used, much like Snyder, it's used in a way that elevates what's going on screen. So for me, Wonder Woman 1984, I thought was was a step up from the first Wonder Woman. There are things that I like more about Wonder Woman, but there are things that I like more about 84. Jenkins just understands this character and has delivered mostly rock-solid material. But for me, crushing the third act the way she does really elevates this movie. Having villains and characters that have lots of depth to them besides just our heroes adds a lot to this movie, and it just gives all of these phenomenal actors stuff to play with. And they do it in a way that just brings this to a place that, for me, this is the best version of Wonder Woman I've seen yet. So I loved it, Patty Jenkins. Thank you so much. I was very, very happy I was able to see this the way that you intended the world to see it. And I can tell you that you knocked it out of the ballpark. And I can't wait to watch it again on the small screen with my family later tonight. Because it's a great holiday movie. There's a holiday, like the themes and the things that are going on. It's a good movie to watch with the family. So I loved Wonder Woman 1984. Now I know what you're thinking, man. Have you checked it out? It's been online for long enough to have seen the movie. What are your thoughts? Did you dig it? Did you like it more than the first one? Did it not work for you? Who were your favorite characters? What did you think of the additions of Wiig and Pascal? What did you think of Pine and Gadot? What do you think Jenkins did in general? Or do you still prefer the first one and this one didn't quite come up to your standards? Anything you're thinking, good, bad, indifferent about Wonder Woman 1984 goes down below in the comments section. Keep it spoiler free, but I do looking forward to talking to you guys down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime. We're talking movies, trailers, maybe some more Wonder Woman action. There's definitely some spoiler things I want to dive into, and you want to be here for that, and you haven't yet. You want to show the old C-Man a little Christmas joy, a little Christmas love, so to speak. I gotten a lot of it recently. Thank you. I haven't said it out loud, but thank you to everyone, man. 1,000 subscribers right in time for Christmas. What a wonderful gift. And if you were not part of that 1,000 subscribers, part of C-Maniac Nation, and you want to add, I would love to have some more subscribers. I'd love to have more of you around. I'd love to have more people to talk to about these movies. And if you want to be here for all that, you like what we're doing, jump over there, man. You can join C-Maniac Nation by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man Cinema Sitdown, I've been C-Man. I've been signing off. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays. Well, that's all live and breathe. You still here? Check out a video like this one or this one, and hit the subscribe button so you can get alerts and check out everything the C-Man's got at the Cinema Sitdown.